possible conversations here. One of the things that's come out of a number of discussions, and I think, Bob, you were one of the people that raised this, and Monica, you may have been another one, is another thing the state might bring to the equation for people that build their plans is potential for loosening some of the state tax preemptions.
Yeah.
Does that ring any bells?
That was
we
one.
discussed.
That was stakeholders. That was one of the things they said when you say, "Hey, if there's ways for us to be able to address the UAL and perhaps raise revenue," that was certainly. I heard that from the stakeholder groups that I talked to.
Right. Right.
Yeah, there were specific restrictions on very specific things
Right.
that they.
So that might be another thing that you could do to put into the incentive column. And then the other question that various people that you speak to about this talk about is, are there other things beyond the plan that you would ask the PERS employers to commit to? And that is, for example, some guardrails around the rest of the fiscal discipline so that you are making clear that the expectation is any savings on PERS doesn't end up raising other costs as opposed to protecting services for constituents. So, the question there would be, are there guardrails or parameters that you lay out in that plan and the expectation around spending on various things that go on in that employer, or labor contracts, or various other pieces of the equation?
So,
Yeah.
in general, I like the sounds of that, but I think it's impossible to figure out how to monitor that. I mean, again, there may be organizations that have been underfunded or have capital needs that, for whatever reason, for years, that no matter how much money they have or don't have, they're going to spend it all, right? I mean, I think what you're talking about is if the incentive is given, if there's a reduction in operating costs, the way I've heard it described is that the concern is, well, then the rest goes to, we see a bump above, for example, cost of living wages or CPI wages. That maybe wages will go up faster than they would if they hadn't got the incentive or the reduced cost.
Right.
And in that case, again, if you're painting all organizations with the same brush, you may negatively impact some organizations that haven't been able to pay their folks market rate.
Okay, but
See what I'm saying?
Okay, so you've raised 2 points, right? I just want to make sure I got to your points. So one point is a practicality question, which is, can we actually monitor or measure this and track it?
Yeah, and then making sure that the impact is what you're looking for, because
Right.
we could approach this as a short-term solution to fix, partially to fix PERS, but we could hobble critical services, or prevent better outcomes for citizens in certain sectors if they can't if they can't